Mount Carmel, I think the last time I checked, they were number 2 most safest towns in the state of Tennessee. Churchill was number 1. So these 2 little towns, they don't have the money to spend like Kingsport does.
Okay,
So that's why they have to have the backups too. And
what
I
is,
appreciate all you've done.
We
In
don't
fact,
have an issue with other agencies backing us up. We have agreements with these other agencies. We don't have it. I don't think we have that issue. Especially with the county, we have mutual aid agreements with like the cities, but with the county,
look
they've
at
got
that
jurisdiction in the county. But they're quick to come help us anytime we need it if they have an officer available.
what is that Churchill's policy about the seats?
If I'm not mistaken, they pretty much have a no pursuit policy.
Basically, everybody around us have no pursuit but us.
And another thing about having a no pursuit policy that I have personally seen right out here in front of City Hall is if you take that away from your officers, if you take that part away from their doing their job, when the time comes that you do have to pursue, you have somebody that just shot and killed somebody or something like that, they're not gonna know how to do it.
Okay, so
Would that,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
so would that also open our officer up for liability if you did pursue, so therefore, and technically you violated policy in your example, right? If they shot and they run and you pursue, you violated your policy, does that open you up as individual liable for any type of things?
We're constantly open up to
Well, I
liability.
understand you're always.
I mean,
liability.
anything we do, we're open up to
I know
liability,
you're
especially nowadays.
And they're just
wrong
looking for something
in that
to sue a
situation.
police officer too.
I don't want to create a policy that's going to put you in a position that's going to have to be a situation where you violate that policy and put yourself liable for something more
Well-
because you're doing the right thing in that regard.
Like I said, my officers are supposed to, and they do, I don't want to say supposed to, when they get in a pursuit, they have central dispatch call me. At the earliest convenience, they have them call me. I monitor these pursuits. I've been in law enforcement now for about 35 years. I've been in pursuits myself. I've supervised pursuits. I know what to listen for and what to listen for on the radio to know whether or not I need to call these off or not. And the officer has the discretion to call it off themselves before I even say anything. So as far as us just going out here like the Wild West and pursuing everything, no, we don't.
And how many
And-
years have you been in the law enforcement?
September was 35 years.
Not him,
Oh, how long have I been in law enforcement?
Lunsford,
52 years.
and you're 35.
I'm
Look how
35
much, look how much knowledge they have in the pursuits and all the other things that they have
And I'm telling you, I'm all about keeping my guys safe. I don't want to let them, if there was a door that needed to be kicked in to go,
chasing somebody, right? Or
I-
pursuing somebody, or they're running for you.
and the paper said pursue,
Yeah, I didn't mean to use.
I was
the
going
pursuit.
after a person that I just witnessed a traffic violation, and I was going after them, yes.
And you got hurt, didn't you?
I
And
did.
had to go to the hospital.
I did.
So there it is again.
But Pat,
What?
what if it'd been me that was going through the red light? What if it'd been me and he hit me?
Well,
I would be,
this guy came through the red light and ran it. You don't run red lights.
no, but I think what Jim's whole point was, and why he's not speaking up, I don't know, is, let's go back for years past, Scott. You remember when 2 little boys in Volunteer High School, and I can't think of their names, I still see their faces, and I could cry for their parents to this day. One of the church police got after them, and they were alive. I think this is what
And-
Jim's trying to allude to, that
I understand that.
pursuit, unsafe pursuits are our town, our roads. I mean, so somebody
I
can pick up.
understand that, but what you have to try to understand is that particular situation right there. We can spend the next 4 or 5 hours what if in that thing to death.
Yeah.
Yes.
We really can. We can what if something, any topic. But, and I'm with you. I don't care if it's a young child. I don't care if it's an adult. When they decide to run and they wreck and they get hurt or they get killed, I don't laugh about that. I take that seriously. That bothers me. That bothers my officers because we are human. But we did not make them do that.
No, but I'm just saying.
We're
I'm
only
just-
trying to do our job.
I'm just saying if they had not been pursued, I don't know at what point, if the policeman could have said, young kids, just stop right here, they're gonna wreck.
It-
Because they do,
You
that's your
can,
biggest fear when you have your children.
there's
growing up.
surveys out there and studies out there that show, some of them will show that if you back off a pursuit, most of the time, the bad guy will slow down. And there's studies out there that prove that if you back off the pursuit, they're still gonna drive like crazy because most of the time, the reason why we're trying to stop you is because you were out here driving recklessly.
What about that guy that, was doing, you said he's doing 120, at the fall festival?
No, I don't know the speed he was doing, but he was flying through the fall festival that
Well,
day.
what, if you all stopped him, what was his reason for doing that? What was he guilty of?
He had a warrant, is what he told them, once they got him stopped. Once he hit the spike strips, and again, that's why I said we have took it upon ourselves to buy these. There's no benefit really to us. It is to help these other agencies when they come through our town, to slow these cars down.
Well, that should do it.
When he come through, I can't tell you what the speed was on the car. He was moving.
City. Why would anybody chase a person for 20 miles? You can't quit stopping out on 26. There's no worse to do one up through there.
You can do it anywhere there's,
It's too much
Two lanes of
traffic.
road.
It's too much traffic.
but you can do it anywhere there's too much road. I will tell you this, the reason the kid didn't stop, he said he thought that we were Kingsport. And he knew Kingsport didn't pursue, that's why he ran.
Could have been, I don't know. But
I mean, I can tell you that, I know that for a fact.
But the point I'm trying to drive, you get the pursuit right here. When you go down Allendale, very heavy traffic, you don't know who you're gonna kill or who's gonna get killed. And we need to
What
stop
was,
it.
and I'm not 100% because I wasn't in that pursuit. What was the traffic like on that night?
I have no idea.
Exactly. We don't know that. We can only assume.
Well, if we
You are
can't,
correct that sometimes traffic is heavy.
if we
and my
can't
guys
get
will call it
another,
off.
if we can't get another town or another agency to engage with you, it needs to stop right there.
That night, I was monitoring that. It was fixing to stop at about a mile before it actually did. I was ready.
We can run to Church Hills, run 10 minutes. And I did, was going to extend it all the way to the county line up here by the bridge into Kingsport. I just don't think we need to be doing that. We need to stay within the city limits, and I think we can do everything we need to do within the city.
If we start taking care of just ourselves,
That's what
Then
everybody
we
else
did-
does.
then whenever we do need the help, we're not gonna have it because
That's what all the rest of them does. Churchill, Kingsport, all the rest of them.
you have something happen out here, up here right now, and my officer hollers for help. Who's gonna come?
I would say the first to be here would be the sheriff's department.
I would like to speak to
You're-
that
you're-
from personal experience.
You're right and you're wrong. Churchill will come and help us. The county does come and help us.
But they might be way out down in
The
county.
county themselves have a unbelievable call volume right now. They're not always available. Churchill, they will come and help us.
Well,
And
Mount Carmel got to me whenever I had a break-in and enter on Big Elm Road up next to the river. Mount Carmel Police was the first ones there, a long time before Hawkins County ever arrived.
that was a mutual aid request.
And getting back
Because
to
the county didn't have
Teresa's,
nobody.
getting back to Teresa, I am very good friends of the,
Be it a pursuit, a domestic, or whatever we go, common sense goes a long way. like I said, our officers have the ability to call that pursuit off themselves. I will not let one go if I feel like it's getting too dangerous, either for the officer or for the public.
Well, there's one happening right now, I don't think you've got the equipment to take it on. Everything's getting tore up.
Would you walk me through the procedure, saying you're pursuing a felon, a drunk driver, or whatever? Would you walk me through the steps that you go through for that call?
Well, I mean, every pursuit's gonna be different.
Right,
Okay.
just
It's
hypothetical.
gonna be handled totally different. If my officer right here gets in a pursuit, he tries to stop a car, car's weaving all over the road, possible drunk, or for whatever reason. He initiates his blue lights and his siren, the car fails to yield. Does not pull over, either speeds up or just continues on. At that point, he lets Central know that he's got a vehicle failing to yield. He gives his location, he gives his speed, weather conditions, and traffic conditions. And at that point, that's when I'm usually notified. But like I said, most of the time, I'm already listening to the radio. But I get notified, I turn on my handheld radio, to where if I need to, I can speak to that officer directly. I don't have to go third party through a dispatcher. And ever so often, if it's not very heavy, they'll continue on. And out of I'm gonna go county-wide, I'm not just gonna go with Mount Carmel, but out of the past, say 10 pursuits that either Mount Carmel, Churchill, the county has initiated, I don't think any of them, as an end result, the suspect got away. They were taken into custody and taken off the streets and put in jail.
Okay, how about speeding in neighborhoods?
Again, every situation is different.
Well, about
Our officers every year have to go through a minimum of 2 hours training for emergency, for non-emergency, emergency, and pursuit
I
driving.
understand that, okay, but I'm talking about neighborhoods with the kids playing and stuff, but they're not trained. They're not trained for fire.
There's a good chance we're not going to pursue
Well,
them.
about 3 months ago there, in my neighborhood, Hammond Estates, there was a police car, got a call. I never seen a car go that fast before in that neighborhood. I was so mad, I called Emily up. I didn't want to know who the officer was. I respect everybody there. But I couldn't even tell what kind of car it was. It was going so fast.
Well, I can tell you,
Can I say something?
Yes.
What was the call?
I don't care what the car is.
Well, if you know,
of anything. I've been there, I've had that same complaint made on me for going down the street to back up an officer on a call, and when I left, the man flagged me down and asked me, why were you going that fast? What if my kids had been out here in the road? I described his kid to a T. I said, you talking about the little boy that was standing beside your truck way up in the driveway wearing the orange shirt? We're trained to do this stuff. We don't go blindly into this stuff. We're trained not to get tunnel vision. We're trained to.
I understand that, but I'm not saying, the speed limit is 20 miles an hour. What's too fast for that road?
I don't know.
That speed limit was there for a reason.
Yes, it's for
Well, it's just
normal
like a woman
everyday
in her
driving.
house, if
I'm
she's
sure about
getting
when
a
somebody
time.
got killed, back out of her
What
driveway.
if I'm getting raped or murdered, or
Well, you want somebody else's life, take care of yours?
Yeah.
Or you think you
I mean-
prefer somebody else get killed to save your life? That's what you're
Well,
saying.
no, they're out to save anybody's life.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
They gotta be
and
safe
there's
both
more
ways.
rape victims than what you think.
They're gonna be victims, you're a victim both ways.
Question, Assistant Chief. When you're done with the pursuits, what reports are written?
There is usually because a pursuit is considered a somewhat of a force, I will do like a pursuit.
Now, the officer who does that report, does the supervisor does report that he was on that call with that officer, or just the officer's report?
No, there's only one report done. Usually in the narrative or something, they'll put in there, Assistant Chief Scott Alley was notified. I mean, that's what's usually in the narrative of the report.
I'll tell you something, in
There's
my
only one report
neighborhood,
done,
Just one report.
through our agency. Of course, if it's another agency pursuing, they're gonna have their own paperwork.
I'll tell you another incident, and this has happened twice just in the last probably 6 months. Yes, Mount Carmel Police came up through my road, past my house, flying, to get to a house. They saved an overdose twice by giving them, Narcan, an overdose. And if he had not have come as fast as he did, then that person would be dead, and it was a young girl in the 9th grade school.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, I'm not gonna say, just like of your incident, I'm not gonna sit here and say that that particular officer wasn't in the wrong by going that fast. But, and at the end of this meeting, I was just gonna tell you that I planned on addressing the board, but and this is one of the things that I wanted to address the board about. I can wait till then, or I can address it now, but call me. Don't,
The board
call
doesn't
me.
have any, the board doesn't have any.
Well, as a board, our job is to call the city manager and, we have chain of commands, that's how we do it. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be with us.
Okay.
We're not allowed to just call you.
I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't aware of that.
Well, shit, we
But
don't
what
have,
was
we don't
the,
have no power, right here sits the power.
Siren
Right.
on and everything?
We're just-
If it's going so fast, the
I
sound's
understand
gonna,
that.
the car was gonna go and do a sound even got there.
I mean,
Well, they should.
I didn't hear nothing
Siren.
about it, and I'm not saying nothing bad on Emily's part. I didn't hear nothing about it. I don't know if Chief Lunsford was told about it or anything.
That's who I discussed it with.
Okay.
was the chief.
So I'm not aware of it. If she discussed it with the chief, then I can't tell you what the outcome was.
Like I said, we just got so many young kids, they got headsets in their ears, they're out there playing, they don't know. And there are a lot of curves. And he was going by a curve, he didn't know what's around the curve. You say you see kids beside of you, but you got a blind curve and you're flying around, you don't know what's behind it.
Exactly.
And this car, it was squealing tires, I mean, it was taking both sides of the road up and everything. And everybody was complaining about the neighborhood, because there's never been a car that fast. And I know they say you're trained, but the people is not trained, not in subdivisions.
We can have, I mean, and you're right. We are trained in, we are trained to drive in situations that a normal person
Yes.
doesn't get exposed to. But can accidents happen? Oh, yeah,
Oh, I
most
know.
definitely, most definitely.
But is it more you're gonna have an accident with higher speeds, more fast you go, more, at least you're gonna,
It raises the risk, yeah.
I mean, if you have a blowout going 80 miles an hour, that's more damage than having a blowout doing 20.
But again, we can what if it. We can what if.
Okay, as a board here, we can't what if, we got,
That's what I'm saying. I understand where you're coming from. I really, really do. I wasn't aware of that incident, but I can't sit here and tell you the outcome of it. I don't know who the
let's see if
officer
the outcome is
was
good, if nobody got hurt.
or anything like that. I don't know what that officer was
Yeah.
going on. I mean, I know that, I can't defend something I know
Yeah.
nothing
I think
about.
it was going on a farm foul, he heard it was a farm.
But I mean, y'all can carry on with the agenda if we're done with that, but.
And another thing there, your policies there, like I said, I call 5 different communities there. We got 2 miles of highway, and everybody else has got a whole lot more than we do. And how come we're only one doing pursuits and they're not? We just got 2 miles.
Carter Valley Road's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about the 4-lane there, stuff like that. And the other
And
communities
again,
don't
that's,
Well, the
Each
flying
agency's
cars
gonna be a
down the
little
road
different.
anyway.
Yeah.
but I
Drivers
can
do.
tell you with a lot of certainty, I know I'm not 100% sure about it, but a lot of king sports, whether it's not doing a pursuit or not responding to non-emergency calls, handling the, whatever they do, a lot of it has to do with certain guidelines they have to go by for this accreditation. It's not that the officers don't want to pursue, because they're just like us and every other officer. They're there to get the bad people off the streets and get them behind bars. Whether it's a
Yeah,
burglary
well,
or
I
a
ain't gonna do no
pursuit.
good.
I mean, I understand that.
In jail,
Well-
just turn them loose.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you got a point. You got a point.
I understand what you're talking about, Kingsport and other communities, but we're the same thing, Kingsport, that's what this board is. We're higher up, and that's our responsibility to know best for this community there. That's us there, and we're gonna figure out what's best. And like I said, I came and talked to you there in your office, about a couple weeks ago. I got your side, and I've been calling every small department, big department, just trying to find out what's the right thing to do there. I like to do my homework. And like I said, so far, we're the only community that does it, and we got the least amount of miles on the interstate, for that.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you too that a lot of that has to do with your administration. I see this a lot, and this is something that myself and Chief Lunsford kind of swore we wasn't gonna fall into this situation. A lot of these places where you have either a sheriff or a chief of police, they take that position from, they worked patrol before. But the longer that they're out of that environment, they forget where they come from, they forget what it's like out there in the trenches. They start making rules and policies that make it harder. They forget where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Myself and Chief Lunsford kind of told ourselves that we're gonna try to be working chiefs. Right now, Chief Lunsford is actually, he assigned himself to a shift because we are shorthanded and we're having a problem filling that shift. And he assigned himself to that shift. We come into work, this is how I come into work. I'm ready to answer a call if I need to. I don't come into work just to sit in the office for 8 hours. I'm there to back these guys up if they need it. We're there, we are equipped to go answer whatever type call we need to go answer. Therefore, we try not to forget where we came from.
Yeah.
And it makes it a lot easier for us to understand what these guys are going through and what, try to get them some better equipment. I mean, hey, listen, I love to have helicopters and everything. I just know it's not possible. But we try not to forget where we came from as patrol officers. And a lot of your bigger agencies, that happens, especially if you have the same person in that administrative position for a long period of time. And it's nothing that you can blame them for. It feels sharpened, because if I sit in the office all day, I'm going to forget.
Yeah.
I'm going to forget how to do certain things out
There
there.
has to be someone in the office anyway, in case somebody comes to, emergency for the, at the, police office, or, police department.
Through the week, most of the time, I do 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. That's the hours that I set for myself whenever I was hired up here. Okay?
That's pretty good when you can set your own hours.
I was told by the chief that I asked him what my hours needed to be. I chose 8 to 4. There's a reason for that. Chief usually works a 9 to 5. And that gives me time to come in and go through paperwork, through reports, and be ready to let him know what's going on or what he may need to do by the time he gets there. That's the reason for that. So if I'm there from 8 to 4, no, I'm not always in the office, but most of the day I am there. But and it's just like any other department. It's not manned. They're called patrolmen for a reason. They patrol. The police department's not manned 24/7, the building itself.
And I know what time I met you were doing online classes then. You had to do so many classes a year, don't you, to keep your...
We are tongue-tied here. We're required to have 40 hours of training by post every year. Our police department chooses to do the V Academy. It's an online training. But 40 hours don't seem like a lot, but where it's online training, to get 1 hour of credit, you usually have to go through a 2 to 3 hour class.
We know all about online training.
I wanted to ask you
Well,
a
I got
question.
I got one more thing to throw at you. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I wanted to ask, if, let's say a bank got robbed here in Mount Carmel and they started up Stone Drive, well, when they hit Kingsport city limits, would you all be calling them to notify them that a bank
We
robbery?
notify 'em. And I can tell you with 100% certainty, we would not stop at the city limits.
I mean,
If we
would
were
you,
behind.
would you notify Kingsport, would they?
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
We notify every jurisdiction that we're getting,
I
that we
guess
know
it's
that
on
we're
your
probably going.
scanners everywhere, isn't it?
Huh?
I'd say if you're in pursuit of something and you need backup, it goes out to what? It goes
Our
out to all
radio
of those
system,
people?
Can I say
our radio
something on that?
system doesn't
On that point,
go out.
our pursuit, if, it's like he says, when I get in, I get in a pursuit. When I hit the city limit up here, in a motorcycle, he was doing 150, I got him on radar. I stopped, because he went through Allendale, and I thought, I'm not gonna be responsible for a kid killing himself, and I was terminated. But if they commit a crime, a serious felony, we will pursue them. That's
I
a
don't
fact.
have a problem with that if it's bank robbery.
Well, I understand what you're saying.
Whatever. I don't have a problem with that, but just going out of here chasing a tail light because he was speeding.
But you don't know what he might have done.
No,
And if he's drunk, now you want him going down the road and wreck and kill somebody? Now, would you feel responsible for that if you did?
Well, I mean, I can tell you, we would be held liable.
And I can tell you from personal experience, what ifs can go on all night long. What if something happened, what if something don't happen? But about 5 years ago, I would not be.
Driving across the medium strip to get a turnaround.
Huh?
You can't take your car down the medium strip to get over to the next lane after somebody. That's about the place I can be.
What do you mean by taking it down into the median strip?
The medium strip is where the last car got tore up so bad.
Mm-hmm.
You don't take a car down the medium strip.
But I didn't do-
King size
Was that officer's fault?
Wait just a minute. It's a king size gully. Go to the next turnaround. We can't keep on fixing
No,
these
he
guys
wasn't.
on cars.
He wasn't, you're talking about going down into the median that's a ditch.
It's a big ditch.
Yes,
Can
that
I-
officer was not sitting in
Can I
that
say something,
ditch.
Mr. Gold?
Go ahead.
That officer was not sitting in a ditch. He was sitting,
I'm not talking about any officers sitting there. I'm talking
What
about
incident
an
are you
officer
talking about?
going down in there from the north side to the south side. Go ahead.
when has that happened?
Well, I can tell you, I was the driver.
I know, but I want.
All right?
I wasn't
Now,
gonna
what
say that.
happened was, I clocked the car going westbound doing 72 miles an hour. And when I turned, I thought I was in the flat area right here. I didn't go turn in that ditch because I knew it was a ditch. Because I was blinded by the lights, I could not see that ditch. I thought I was in the flat area right before Hammond Avenue. And when I turned, I knew it was too late.
Well,
Because I made a mistake and I admitted it.
I bet you know it's right now.
No, I don't. I know where, right now, but then that night, I could not see that ditch.
but the only thing I'm trying to put on this is we don't want to use that for a turnaround.
We don't. And with,
I'm
as
gonna
far
add-
as the median part.
We
Now,
don't
the
use it.
level
It's
of
a
grass
turnaround.
part.
I mean, it was
yeah,
an
we
accident.
use that.
We want a policy on it, it ain't gonna happen again, go to a turnaround. They got 2 turnarounds up, no, 3 turnarounds up to here, I think, in a 2-mile run.
Well, I mean, I can tell you, you don't need a policy on it because we're smart enough not to do that. He done it because he thought he was at a
I
level.
thought I was on the level ground. I found
We
out.
know- we
Soon as
know
I
you
turned,
did.
through the wheels went in the ditch, I knew I'd made a
That's a common-
mistake.
that's a common sense
Tore the
thing.
hell out of that car.
What?
All right, everybody's had a chance to talk about this one, so I think we have agreement that this will be on the agenda, and the board will get their vote, whatever they decide to vote. I don't want to cut anybody off, but like you said, you can do what if, in different scenarios, all night long. He wanted it on the work session, so it'll be on the agenda. I think it's clear that it will be on the agenda, the board will get the vote their wishes for it.
I was gonna throw this for one time, then you cut me off.
Uh,
Hellman's Road. Every time I go up that daggone road, there'll be some idiot coming down on the wrong side of the road. I think we need to put more patrol up through there and start busting highways.
What road are you talking about?
We're,
Hammond.
it's a dangerous road.
Almonds.
It's a very
They
narrow.
they fly down that road. Now I come up through there today, just before you come up to the park. Here come that idiot down through there on my side of the road.
Are you talking Hammond Avenue?
It's, I mean, we patrol.
Right out here.
Did listen to the recording, and I was a little upset with two things. One, the visitor's comments plainly states, the board may not participate in any discussion and cannot vote on the subject you present. There was an item brought up by the detective that you asked him questions that you should not ask at that meeting.
Was it a BMA or workshop?
The BMA.
Yeah.
You should have waited to this workshop to ask those questions, Madam Mayor.
No, I didn't ask, I asked the board if we could
Mayor.
have him,
Mayor, it was the
have
mayor.
a, I didn't ask, you know, Jim, no. I asked the board if we could discuss it with him at this meeting. I did not discuss anything with him.
I didn't say you.
Yes, you just
No.
did.
I
No,
said
he said
Madam
mayor.
Mayor. I didn't say
At the
Vice
end,
Mayor.
you said Madam Mayor, and what did you say?
You told them they could come down here at the workshop and talk.
But she was asking questions to the detective after he done what spill he did.
What question?
That should have been asked here.
Well, what questions did I ask?
I think it's just a formality thing is what Mr. Bear's trying to say, it just kind of bring attention to, I should stop.
The
Yeah.
formality. And the other one
Nothing we're gonna call it later.
is ordinance number 23-525. It's pretty much says how we run our meetings, right? You voted for it, everybody voted for it. Section 2 of that, the town administrator shall introduce the individual agenda items, and the mayor, as the presiding officer, shall preside over the discussion, if any of each agenda item. So after you do your speech with public comment, you're to turn the meeting over to Emily and let her go over the agenda.
I thought we had been done.
I think it's just, she presides over the discussion of everything.
Right, you introduce everything that's on the agenda item and you can take care of the discussion.
It's
That was
always
done.
been done the way that the mayor has said with agenda. But
We just
really-
passed this, Pat, a couple months back, and you're not following that ordinance.
Well,
I don't know how much plainer I can be that you're not following the ordinances that set up. by the
you
board.
tried to get it passed because you didn't want me to be the mayor. That's exactly what this is all about. Let's pick on the mayor. That's
You
exactly.
voted for this. I will take and bring this up at every board meeting
Bring it up, cause I'll still follow.
that you mess up
I'll
on
do
this
it.
ordinance.
Whatever.
John, did you get a call from me yesterday?
Yes, I'll call you back. No, that's busy.
Ordinances is in place to be followed.
This is the worst board we have ever had.
I think it's the best.
Couple stories about it.
I sort of figured that.